All right, welcome to day 6. In your planners, please be writing work on problem set. A reminder, the problem set is on Delta Math, so you got to go to deltamath.com, sign in with your login information, and then it should pop up right there, Unit 4 problem set. Remember, you got to get 2 in a row correct for each skill. And then once it says you've gotten 100%, then you'll get 100% on that problem set. If you could also be having your homework out so you are ready to go over it when we get there. And then you've got a warm-up to do. Should be very similar to the homework. We're going to pause the video for 4 minutes to make sure you have your planner written down, homework out, and you have a chance to do the warm-up. You will need your calculator for the warm-up, so be taking that out as well. So we'll pause the video right now for 4 minutes so you can do that. All right, so from the 25, this is opposite, this is adjacent, this is hypotenuse. The ones we have things for are opposite and adjacent. So we want to think of our SO, CA, TOA. We have opposite and adjacent, so we should use tan. After the sine, cosine, or tangent, you always put the angle, so tan of 25 equals our opposite of 10 over our adjacent, which is x. Tan of 25 is just a strange way of writing a number. So a number you can always put over 1. When you have two fractions separated by an equal sign, we can cross multiply. 1 times 10 is 10. Multiplying the other way, we get x times tan 25. Tan 25 is just a number. So if it's multiplying a variable, we can get rid of it by dividing it. So therefore, x is just going to equal 10 over tan 25. Remember, your calculator needs to be in degree mode. Okay, from yesterday's class, it should be in there, but it should say DEG on the top right of the calculator page. If not, if it says RAD, that's what we don't want. Click that, and it should switch it to DEG up on the top right. But when we type this into calculator now, we get to the nearest hundredth. Well, first off, it was this before we rounded. So we end up getting x is 21.45 when we round to the nearest hundredth, because this 5 bumped up the 4, and we did not have units, so we don't have to stick units on it. Switching over to your homework, from the 37, this is opposite, this is adjacent, so we should use tan. Pretty similar to the warm-up, except when we cross multiply, in this case, x is already by itself, so just got to type it in, round to the nearest tenth, you get 1.6. Number 2, we wanted from the boathouse to the cabin, so call that x. From our degree value we have, this is the opposite, this is the adjacent, so we're going to use tan. Tan of 59 is x over 30. Cross multiply, after the cross multiplying, x is by itself, so just type in. We wanted to the nearest tenth, and we had units in this case, so we had to put yards in. For 3A and B, they already gave us the setup. This was just practicing cross multiplying and solving. So A should be pretty basic. B, after you cross multiply, you then have to divide by the tan 2. So you got 13.5 and 114.5. Moving over to 4. In 4A, this is opposite, this is hypotenuse. So we had to use sine. Sine of your angle is equal to x over 20. Cross multiply, x is by itself, so type that in. Nearest tenth, we get 11.5. From the 56, the 10 is our adjacent. The x is our hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse gave us 10 over x. Cross multiply, we still have to then divide by cos 56 to get x by itself. Nearest tenth, you have 17.9. From the 21 in C, this is opposite, this is hypotenuse, so we're using sine. So you have x over 12. Cross multiply, x is by itself. When you type it in, you get 4.3 to the nearest tenth. Five, we had to draw the picture. Anytime you have to draw the picture, it makes it a little bit more difficult. Notice they gave us feet and inches. Well, we need to convert that into all inches. So you do 195 times 12 to get those inches, and then add on the 9.5, and that's where we get the 2,349.5 inches. Well, that was the vertical rise. In this picture, we're essentially looking at the escalator from the side. So imagine like when you're at the mall, if you look at the side of the escalator, this is kind of what you would see. Our angle we're rising is that 10.4 there at the bottom, and the length of the escalator is the hypotenuse there, so that's x. From our angle, we have opposite and hypotenuse. We want to use sine. If we cross, multiply, and solve, we end up getting this many inches. Well, they wanted our answer to be 1/10 of a foot. So take your decimal answer, keeping it all the way out, divide by 12, and then round to the nearest 1/10 of a foot, and we get 1,084.6 feet. Alrighty, so the sub hopefully has passed out to you while we're going over homework, the green class, or sorry, not green, the gold classwork sheet for today. Now, it says on the top graded. Because I'm not here today, we're not going to do it as graded. It's going to be a practice, and it's going to be a self-check, basically, to see how you are doing so far. So you're going to work on it with one partner, and that partner is going to be the person that's across the aisle from you. So the 2 rows closest to the window, you're working with the person that's next to you. And then the next 2 rows after that, so like the 2 that are 1, 2, 3, the 4th and 5th from the window, because there's that tiny row near the window, your partner will be the one next to you, and then the next 2 rows, you're the people next to you as well. If your period has people all the way against the wall closest to the door, just the 2 people closest to the door that are in front of each other in the same row there, you'll work together as well. If there's any absences, the sub can have you switch so you have a partner at their discretion. But you're going to work on this the rest of the period. When you are done with it, take out your Chromebook, go to Schoology, and on our Schoology page, right under you, click on Unit 4, and right at the top in Unit 4, I put the answer key for this so you can check your answers. So when you finish, go to Schoology, go to Unit 4, check your answers, correct any ones that need correcting, and then once you're done with that, you can if you have time left in the period, keep your Chromebook right out, and you can go to deltamath.com and start the problem set. So that is what your task for the rest of the period.